What's up, guys? Matty here, mixandmastermysong.com. Today we're going to be checking out the new Acustica Audio Erin Plugin. It's a mastering EQ and a mastering compressor. It's actually modeled after the old Air EQs and compressors, which are tube EQ, tube compressor. I'll show you all that today, and then we'll go through and master a song really quick using them so you can hear it in action. Let's go. All right, guys, so here's the main EQ. You can see I have these grayed out. I'm going to have to show them one at a time because for some reason, this thing was kind of pushing my CPU like some Acustica plugins do. Having one on is fine, but when I had all three going, it was just, I was getting a bunch of errors. So a lot of times with Acustica, the first release can sometimes have a few bugs in it. Maybe there's a CPU issue that hasn't been worked out, but they all work fine on their own and don't crush the CPU too much, but all three together, for some reason, were just blowing my core out. So I'm gonna have to do them one at a time. But this is the main EQ. Like I said, let me show you the heritage of these things. The main EQ, which is the one I actually dig the most, is the Ear 825 2-channel 5-band equalizer. Now, these things are super expensive. You can see it's about $12,000 US. And they used to actually be cheaper from what I've read, but you know, the guy I think making them doesn't want to make them as much, or you know, it's a lot of work to make them, so I think they're charging more than they used to be. But you can see it's a stereo equalizer for studio use with sound quality top priority. It is a tube EQ and it sounds pretty amazing. Now, the next piece is this 660 limiter compressor, and that is the compressor. Let me switch that over. The compressor of this plugin suite. So here it is, the compressor, right? And this thing, it looks quite a bit different than here, but I know Michael Brower's talking about this one a lot. It's a pretty well-known compressor. Some people say it sounds a bit like a Fairchild compressor. I've never really used one of these in person, so it's hard for me to tell, and I've only used a real Fairchild in person a couple times, but I do use Ultramarine, which sounds really good. So this thing sounds nice as well. And then finally, there is a tube equalizer, the Air 823, which is the third plugin. I think I can get two going at once. The third plugin in the suite, and so that's this one here. Pretty simple mid-range equalizer. Kind of like the Pultec mid-range equalizer. Has a boost here, and then a dip here, and then another boost here. I actually dig this one a lot because I like the boost. I've been finding sometimes, and this is just my experience in my mixing, my lower mids need a little more energy. So this has a cool lower mid boost section that I dig, so you can check it out. Oh, by the way, this song is by my buddy Cam Meekins called Say Something, and I will put a link to his music in the description below. So let's check it out. I'll show you this one first, and then we'll work our way through the other two.
Yeah. The life. 3. Yo. Lamp City. Yeah. Check me out. Yo. I've been dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my...
So really nice low band warmth there. If you want to boost a little mids, you can do it here. Let's go where the vocals are.
I've been dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feeling like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They're setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time.
And then if you're finding some frequencies you don't like, you can cut them right here. It's a little muddy in the 2 to 300. You can do a little cut.
I've been dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They're setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class, I never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up. To chillin' in the penthouse, elevators we go up. Some people rather have a million than a million friends. Some people rather have a Prius than me pushing the Benz. And me, I'd rather get blunted than get drinks with some friends. I spent some time in Hollywood, but
so there's that one. Pretty simple EQ, but super effective. Was able to give us a little more mids there. And I dig this one. I feel like I might be using this one more than the other two in my mixes once I get going with it. Now, here's the big daddy of them all, the stereo one. The stereo 5-band, sorry. And so, run through it really quick. You got MS mode if you want, pre-amp, which sounds good. I love Acustica pre's. I sometimes use the pre's of Acustica more than a lot of the other stuff in my mixing, just to give, you know, a flavor or a little different sound to different elements in the mix. So always love the pre's. Meters on or off. You have three different versions, ways to do the metering, reset, and then this is to link them together, which to me is pretty important when you're doing a stereo thing. So we'll keep that on, and we'll keep the pre on. Then you got a low shelf and a high shelf here. So this is the beginning of the bands, right? So low shelf with, what do you got, 18, 25, 50, and 100. And the high shelf with 3K, 4K, 10K, and 20K, okay? One thing that was interesting, and I don't know if this is because it's a first release, when you press the button, this one doesn't go to, which I would think should happen with linking. Everything else links, but the buttons don't to turn the EQ on. So just note that when you're using it, you might have to hit the button on both. And then we have 3 more bands down here, which is a low mid, mostly mid-range bands, right? So you got 6K to 15K. That's a high band EQ. Sorry, mid-range, and then lower mids here. So this is slightly like the other one, but just mostly boosts or subtract. Here you can go spread mono or wide, so you get a bit of a spread there. Bring that back to normal. And then the final stage is your output stage, which I really like these big output knobs, because sometimes with mastering, you're just using a couple different EQs for light color or light touch, and then level gain, really. So, you could gain this one up a dB and then another one up a dB. By the time you get to your limiter, you're not having to, bring the limiter up 10 dB to get it loud enough, So that's kind of a key when it comes to mastering. So that's that one. And then the final one, and we'll start showing us some examples of this compressor, and then I'm going to go back to the EQ, is the compressor. So same thing with the buttons here as the EQ. Let's turn the pre on, and let's put our links on. And then you have usual attack and release here. Okay, SH mod. So if you're not familiar with Acustica plugins, SH mod is a kind of a weird form of the attack release that changes the settings a bit. Filter, you can put a low cut filter so it's not affecting your low end here up to 250 hertz, which is always useful. You got compression mode, ultra compress, and then ultra limit, which are different modes. You can check that out in the manual if you're interested in diving deeper. A couple different ratios. Now, I was a little confused with the ratios from the manual because it was saying it was for other compressors, but I'm assuming this is 2-to-1, 3-to-1 on the ratio. If anyone knows and wants to tell me that I'm wrong in the comments, please feel free. Threshold, gain reduction. So this is your gain reduction meter, which is kind of interesting. It goes up to 14.5. If it goes over, this thing starts lighting up, which is kind of an interesting design idea. Always nice to have a wet and dry. Stereo link, mid or full. And that's the other thing. I wish this does, okay, gotcha. I was confused earlier if this was a stereo link and that's the pan. Another thing which is interesting is a pan over here. That's a feature I don't normally see, which is kind of cool to have. And then your final output stage, which is here. So let's start messing with this thing first, just so you can hear the compressor. And once again, check out this link thing. It's not linking on the ratio, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen or not, but I think it's kind of interesting that not everything links. And that's interesting. Oh, these changed too. Cool. Okay. Compressor, and then let's make sure that all our settings, the thresholds are linked. Let's check this out and hear it in action.
I've been been dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up. To chillin' in the penthouse, elevators we go up. Some people rather have a million than a million friends. Some people rather have a Prius than me pushing the Benz. And me, I'd rather get blunted than get drinks with some friends. I spent some time in Hollywood, but I don't be in this mess. How come a lot of dudes preach, but the role's on lease? I'm in the cold till next week, Speed Town's on freeze. And when I wonder when it's worth it, try and remember that I'm living with this purpose. Yeah, ay. I just do it for the art, I do it for the soul. Think about the future for us, hoping we can grow. Say so, say so, shout so. I always knew it from the start, I gotta let them know I got you on whatever, I just hope that we can grow. Yeah. Say so, shout so. Yeah.
So it sounds good, man. I love the way this thing sounds. It's nice and warm, but gives it some bright fullness to it. It reminds me somewhat of a Fairchild. And it's cool. You can see we're only hitting a dB or two, and it's giving us that feel. This is already a pretty compressed record, so probably wouldn't really need a compressor on here, but just running it through, giving it just like a half a dB, gives it some energy that I really dig. Let's just, for fun, compress this thing to hell, or whatever you want to call it, and see what it sounds like.
I've been dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up. Chillin' in the penthouse, elevators we go up. Some people rather have a million than a million friends. Some people rather have a Prius than me pushing the Benz. And me, I'd rather get blunted than get drinks with some friends. I spent some time in Hollywood, but I don't be in this house. How come a lot of dudes preach, but the role's on at least? I'm in the cold till next week, Speed Town's on freeze. And when I wonder when it's worth it.
So pretty cool. It handles heavy compression pretty well. Not probably something I would use in this instance for this song, but you could tell it was sounding pretty good at even heavy compression. So that's impressive. Acustica's come a long way with their compressors. So lastly, let's go over this one, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a little mastering job with this one, and then we'll, bypass it and check it out afterwards.
I've been dreaming on a million, chillin' still on the grind. Feel like these demons in my closet, they don't want me to shine. But I've been picking up the pieces, going through in my mind. They setting traps, but I'ma see how to avoid them this time. Was 16 just selling tickets, hoping people would show up. Filled out of class and never listened when they told me to grow up. Going through schemes in my head, thinking how I could blow up. To chillin' in the penthouse, elevators we go up. Some people rather have a million than a million friends. Some people rather have a Prius than me pushing the Benz. And me, I'd rather get blunted than get drinks with some friends. I spent some time in Hollywood, but I don't be in this mess. How come a lot of dudes preach, but the role's on lease? I'm in the cold till next week, Speed Town's on freeze. And when I wonder when it's worth it, try and remember that I'm living with this purpose. Yeah, ay. I just do it for the art, I do it for the soul. Think about the future for us, hoping we can grow. Say so, say so, say so. I always knew it from the start, I gotta let them know I got you on whatever, I just hope that we can grow. Yeah. Say so, say so, say so. Yeah. And rest in peace to Mac Miller, he inspired the shit. It's no secret where I'm from, we all admire his shit. Whenever I'm feeling down, thinking about retiring shit, I try and think about his life and catch a vibe with that shit. The loved one's gone too soon, I'm just praying to God, getting my family.
So there you have it. Pretty amazing sounding EQ, great for mastering. I'm probably going to be using it quite a bit on some mastering. I thought that sounded pretty good after just tweaking with it for a few seconds there. Gotta say, I dig the EQ. I hope that some of these tweaks with the extra high CPU usage, although that sometimes comes with Acustica stuff, and that's okay. If I'm using a super high-end mastering EQ and I can only use one, I'm okay with that. Saved me $12,000. But I do hope they get this linking thing, because you could see as I was mixing it, having to hit both buttons left and right was a little bit of a pain. Unless there's some button that I'm missing, which is quite possible, but I don't see it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this new EQ in the comments below. If you need your songs mixed and mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. You can also get my presets and courses there as well. Talk to you soon.